This is a balloon dress with a rose flower detail for a 6-year-old girl. Hello designers, thank you so much for joining me in this tutorial. So this is for a 6-year-old girl. Like I said, I folded the front with about 10.5 inches, as you can see, and then I folded the back, adding a zipper allowance, as you can also see. Now the zipper allowance is 1.5 inches. I have my starting point there, so I am going to start with bust point line, which is 8 inches. Like I said, she is a 6-year-old girl, and her shoulder to waist of 12 inches. Her shoulder to waist is about 11.5 inches. Now this tutorial is going to be in 2 parts, so be sure to hit the subscribe button to be notified of all the tutorials. All right, I'll first upload this one, as you can see, and the second part will come later. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please be sure to subscribe, and if you like this video, be sure to leave it with a like. Thank you so much. Now the next measurement we need is her across back measurement, and hers is 10.5. okay, so that 10.5, you want to divide that into 2. all right, then you're going to put it here on the starting point line. Okay, and I'm using a neck width of 2 1/4. This, I don't know how you call it, but I call it 2 1/4 inches. All right, and then a neck depth of 3 inches. As you can see, it's a round neckline. All right, now her bust measurement is 25.5 inches. Okay, 25.5 inches. When I measured her bust, it was 24.5 inches, and I made sure to add 1.5 inches. Now I stepped down with 0.5 inches from the across back measurement and connected it to the neck width, as you saw. Now what we are going to put here is her armhole depth measurement. Her armhole depth measurement. All right, put it here. Now this line that results thereof is going to be her chest line. See, whatever we had here, we're going to bring it down here. That was her across back measurement. So that's like, that was 10.5, so now it's going to be 5 1/4 inches. That was across back measurements divided into 2. Now her bust measurements of 25.5 inches, divide that into 4. Whatever you have, mark it here on the chest line. Okay, I went on ahead to divide her waist. Her waist is, her slim waist was 26. I added 1.5 inches to it, divided that into 4, marked it here, and then added 1 inch for the dart, and then what remained for sewing allowance. So add the sewing allowance also here on the chest line, and then you join it to give you the side seam. Now divide the armhole depth measurement into 2. We are trying to find our armhole curve. Because she was a child, I just used the back armhole curve for both the front and the back. Okay. So her back neckline is what I am drawing out. The same neck width, but the neck depth is 1 inches, and then I'm cutting out. This is basically it. Okay, be sure to add 0.5 inches over the shoulders for the shoulder joining, so that it doesn't reduce your bodice length. Okay. So this is basically it. Now I'm cutting out. I want to add that this dimension, the body measurement dimension I used, it fitted her perfectly. Okay, it fitted her perfectly. So this is the front piece, and here are the back pieces. Okay, so once you have cut the back out of the two, you cut out the front neckline, just as you see me doing. This is it. Very simple. So I'm sorry I did this off camera. I joined the shoulders with the 1/2 inches, and then I sewed the darts. All right, I'm going to sew this dress in such a way that there is no raw seam inside. Okay, and so I first sewed the lining together, and then I sewed the main fabric pieces together, and then I sewed the darts. All right, now her bust span is 5 inches, so the distance between the darts at the waist, okay, should be 5 inches, or at most 5¼ inches. All right. So now I want to sew the neck, so I'm holding it with my pins as you see me doing. So after pinning, you're going to sew it with 1/2 inch. All right, you can use your hemming gum, is ideal. All right, so you sew it together with the fabric at the same time. All right, this will allow your pieces to bind together, all right, very beautifully. So this is something I have started doing. I have this pinking shears, which I didn't know what to use it for. I recently realized that it's actually good for notching. All right, you just need to apply it just as you apply the scissors. All right, and you don't even have to notch it. Just apply it the way you apply scissors. So I'm trimming off about 1/4 inches off of this. All right, and then once I flip it inside out and iron, it gives you the effect you have after notching. All right, your fabric. After that, we are going to sew this side with 1/2 inch. That's the zip line. Once you are done, you flip it inside out. Ensuring that you poke out all the corners. It's coming out beautifully, right? So after that, you iron, and once you iron, just look at this. Oh my goodness, this is what applying hemming gum or hemming stiff gives you. This is the effect you want. Okay, now because I used the hemming stiff, I did not top stitch it. Okay, so right now what you're going to do is we're going to sew the armhole. All right, we are sewing the armhole using the burrito method. Okay, so you pick up this part like this, and then you align it like this, sandwiching everything else in between. Okay, and then you align your shoulders like this. Hold it with your pins so that it doesn't move around. Then you align your armhole also like this. Now this will give you the best effect ever. All right, so for a sleeveless dress for a child, you would want to use this particular method. All right, Now after aligning, you sew it with 1/2 inch. Be sure to use your hemming stiff, okay, just as I did. All right, and be sure to notch it. Now because of my pinking shears, I just give it a trim of 1/4 inches, and then I flip it inside out. You're going to have to do this one at a time, okay? So after flipping it inside out, I had to bring out my cane for this. So when you flip it inside out, it will look like this. Because of the presence of the hemming gum, after ironing it, it will give you just the effect that you want. I have it about 2 inches, the shoulders, after reducing it with 1/2 inch. Okay, so what we did for the other side, we're going to do the same thing for this side. Okay, so we will have something like this. Be sure that the width of your shoulders are the same. Okay, and then you're going to sew the sides with 1/2 inch. The 4 sides, be sure to sew it with 1/2 inch. Okay, so once all is said and done, you'll have it looking like this. Now after sewing 1/2 inches off of our zip line, we are going to be left with 1 inch. Okay, so I hold it down with 1 inch. Just as you see, you have to hold it down, okay, before you can ship out your bodice. So that's exactly what you see me doing. Now to shape your bodice, put your bust measurements divided into 2, and then what remains, you divide that into 2 and share it to the sides. It's the same way that you will shape the waist. Okay, waist divided into 2. What remains, divide that into 2 and share it to the sides. That's just what you see me doing. I noticed that I did the shaping before sewing the sides, the 4 sides, like I was saying we will sew before. And the only reason why I will do that is because I wanted to know how much of the seam allowance will remain, so that if it will be so much in excess of 2 inches, I would cut it. I would cut some off before sewing the sides. Okay, now after drawing out the shape lines and this what will be the seam, I realized that what will remain will be enough. Okay, so once I realized that, I went ahead and sewed the sides with the half inches. So this is it right here. So now I can go ahead and sew the side seam. This is what you will have. Here is the bodice ready, looking very nice, sleek, elegant. All right, looking very professional. This is exactly as you saw in the thumbnail of this tutorial. Next will be the balloon skirt part of this balloon dress. Okay, now this method we are going to use, you use the same method even if you're sewing a balloon skirt for anyone of any size. Okay, now I realized a lot of things after sewing this dress. I noticed that whatever length you want the bottom part of this dress to be, assuming you want the skirt to be 20 inches, okay, you are going to have to add like 4 inches extra to that length. Okay, so here I wanted the skirt to be about 18 inches, so I had to add about 4 inches extra to it. Okay, and then your lining will be less than 4 inches. Okay, less than 4 inches. And then what you saw me do from the beginning was I marked 1.5 inches, and then after that 1.5 inches I am going to pleat the lining together with the fabric. This will be the bottom part of the skirt. That is what will help you create the balloon effect of the skirt. So you mark 1.5 inches on the sides, the left side, the right hand side, before you pleat. You do your pleating. Okay, so you mark 1.5 inches also here. Once you are done, you're going to do your pleating. Now you want to ensure that after pleating it, you will have the diameter or the circumference of the hem of the skirt to be the same dimension of your hip measurement plus maybe a few more inches. All right. If you have it the same dimension as your hip measurement plus maybe 2-3 inches, it will be fine. Okay, but it should be wide enough, all right, so that it doesn't become like a fitted skirt. Okay, so that's what you have to know for that. So once you are done, you are going to align it to the top, because the balloon is at the bottom and then there are gathers on the waist. Okay, but we have to close the sides of this, because you know this part is going to align with the zip line of the bodice, and the zip line is sewn. It's not with a raw end. Okay, so you have it looking like this. This means that what we have left for the zip allowance is 1 inch. That is exactly what you want. Now you are free to sew your gathers. Sew 2 straight lines with loose gathering stitch. Okay, and then you pull your gathers, ensuring that it will align with your waistline plus allowance for your zipper allowance. Okay, now like I said, be sure to pay attention to what I said before. When you're cutting your skirt, the length for your skirt, be sure to add 4 inches extra, so that after the balloon effect you will have it the length that you want, or else your dress is going to become short. I made this mistake and I had to introduce a waistband, which is not like it is in the thumbnail. Okay, so if you want to sew a balloon skirt, just a balloon skirt, you will need a band like I have here, a band plus allowance for your zipper allowance, and then you're going to sew this side, leaving about 1/2 inches. Okay, you sew this side, leaving about 1/2 inches. And so once you are done, it will look like this. Okay, I'm showing you what you would do if you're sewing a balloon skirt. And then once you are done, you're just going to align it to the waist of the skirt, like you see me doing. I want to add that this balloon skirt method is the straight gathers method, not the flow method. Right, that in the thumbnail was the flow method. You see, so it will be like this, and then you're going to sew it with 1/2 inch. Once you are done, okay, be sure to sew the side also. Now once you're done, you're going to flip it, and then you're going to top stitch it. Now because we are using this balloon skirt part for a dress, and because my length is shorter than I wanted to, I had to introduce a band. Okay, if you want it exactly as it is on the thumbnail, you don't need this band. You need this band if you realize that your skirt is shorter than it should be. Okay, so I folded the sides in with 1/2 inches so that it's not raw. So you can choose to do it sandwiching it, or you can choose to sew it one at a time. I believe I choose to do it one at a time. So you first sew one all the way from one side of the waist to the other side of the waist, so you have it looking like this. And then once you are done, you're going to align the other side also like this. In the end, it will be like you sandwiched the balloon skirt in between the band. Okay, so you can choose to do it one at a time, or you can choose to do it separately. I choose to do it separately because I feel like it was bulky. Okay, okay, because I stiffed it and all. But because the fabric is a crepe fabric and it has this kind of stretch, I had to stiff it to stabilize it, okay. So once I was done, I sewed one part of the waistband to the waist of the bodice like this, ensuring that I open up all the seams so that it doesn't become bulky, because it was already bulky, okay. That is why I'm saying that whatever length of the skirt that you want, be sure to add 4 inches extra. This will be for the balloon. You saw the balloon, the balloon effect on the bottom, so please be sure to do just that. So this is what I have. As you can see, I had to introduce waistband so that the length is at least closer to what it should be. So once you are done, it will be like this. Ensure that the band will align on the zip allowance side of the dress. It should align, okay. So once I am done, I'm going to fold it like this, and then we are going to stitch it. Like I said, there will be no raw end, no raw seam in this dress. Every raw end was closed in, okay. Now see how beautiful this dress is looking now. Now in our next tutorial, I will show you how to make this rose flower fabric detail and how to attach it to the dress. Okay, so please stay tuned. Please like this video, share and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my future tutorials. Thank you so much.